Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel for you guys today. I'm giving you my review, my opinion on the latest Resident Evil remake within the Resident Evil, it's trying to redo it because the latter half of the Paul W.S. Anderson films has turned into dumb, slow-mo, Matrix-style ripoff, sloth type of dumb movies. And there isn't I wouldn't say there's an audience for it, but I wouldn't say there's an audience for those films, but I could at least see that those films were so bad they were good. But I could see that for the first 2 to 3 Paul W.S. Anderson films. The first one back in 2002, a sequel in 2004, and then the third, which was kind of like a Mad Max film, and that released back in 2007. I could at least gleefully enjoy those 3 films to a certain degree. The animated films, the 3 animated films are worthy to own, and they are actually not half bad, actually visually fun, aesthetic films, even if we know the story at the core of all these films will never be done truly well because they don't understand the heartbeat of what makes it so good and what makes them work better as a video game as a cinematic piece. But I'll tell you something about this movie. I was going to review this movie a few days ago, and I'm glad I sat and I'm glad I saw that and let myself compose myself and for you guys here giving a much more coherent, structured, and more honest review, rather than a pure video ranting and staging on how much the movie made me angry. And it did. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This movie really pissed me off, and I realized I was probably alone on that. I was probably the only person who thought this could be good, because I remember seeing the trailers back in I think it was October, and I said to myself, I'm like, yeah, that actually may look absurd and dumb, but at least it had some essence there, like the atmosphere. But I found myself realizing the best response to a film like this is to offer criticisms in the best way imaginable. Instead of drive this movie into the ground with a spike, is to give sincere, constructive criticism to the film. And here's what I do like about this movie. I like the cast. I wouldn't say the overall cast, but everyone in the movie does a fine job. And the second thing I do like about the movie is the overall sense of action was okay. It was fine. It was just average. And the third thing, I did enjoy the overall aesthetic. I appreciate it was trying to do something different within this mood and approach and everything. And the last thing I did like about this movie, it was the only thing I could say more than just an industry standard, decent acting, not half-assed, not bad, cinematography and everything like that. Of course, you're gonna get it right. It's an industry standard. This isn't like a student film where you're cringing through, but you appreciate the craftsmanship. No, this is a produced film. Millions of dollars went to this film for a reason. The only person who I thought actually embodied the role well enough was, let me get this straight. It is Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield. He's the only person in this movie who I thought, from both a visual standpoint, a character standpoint, his role in the story, and the performance, I actually thought was actually pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, that actually kind of hits the nail for the character of Chris Redfield. He's the protective older brother, but strong-willed and stubborn, but very loyal. And but he's also kind of a bit more blind to his faults. He's kind of like a Leon 2.0 in a way. I'll get to Leon in a minute. But my problem with the general cast in this movie is that they're just kind of going through the motions of it all. Like, it's just kind of there and it's fine. Like, both the character of Jill Valentine and Claire Redfield are completely indistinguishable. Like, granted, as I said, their performances were okay. They were fine. I appreciate what they were both going through thematically within the story, but nothing about the performances made me realize like it was like something that really took on. Like, this film felt like it was made by someone who was forced to. It was not like a passion project. It wasn't like someone who owed the film. Like, it was like, oh yeah, I want to make a new Resident movie because I have a real drive and idea. It's like, no, you can tell the director of this film, Johannes Roberts, who also did 47 meters down and that unfortunate sequel, which granted I have never seen those films. I have no desire to see them. They look dumb. To be honest and to be fair, real about this film, I was not expecting a lot. But at the very least, I was expecting something because I am a fan of the Resident Evil lore and everything. And the movie presents itself in a very crass, yeah, Raccoon's usually a bit of a dumb, and we all have a bit of an attitude about it, but we somewhat defend it. Like, when you present the tone, the story, and the mood, and the environment as like, yeah, whatever, and then type of approach, then you fail to make me care in the first place for why the stakes are important and why the characters being done represented in an honorable way matters. Because none of them were done all that much to justice. The only one I thought, as I said before, the only one who I thought was done at all remotely good was Chris Redfield. He was good enough. Jill Valentine, as I said, and Claire Redfield were completely indistinguishable. Krauser was just weird, and I don't understand why they did that. Oh, goddamn. What the hell did they do to Leon? What the hell did they do to my favorite character in the entire series? They made him the butt of the joke. The way they treated his character was so reprehensible and dissatisfying in all the wrong ways. I don't know why they did that. He was just, like, look, I really like Abner Andromeda. I really do. I've been following his career since Victorious. But he does not look like Leon. And if they were just going to go towards his character and be like, hey, Carlos, because he kind of does fit the character of Carlos from the game. Is just trying to shape in the story of Resident Evil, the first two games, and I'm like, oh no, like all the red flags were there, and again I was like, I wasn't blinded, but I was at least hopeful. My friends warned me about this movie, and they're like, no, don't get your hopes up, and I'm like, no, it could be something special, but apparently no one wants to make a good Resident Evil movie. I mean, none of them, I'm gonna say straight up, are genuinely good. Even the 3 fucking CGI films that I actually do rather enjoy aren't good movies. They're at least enjoyable. They're at least tolerable, dumb sci-fi horror action films. But at least they stuck to the core of what made Resident Evil in the first place. And to say this film is better than, as I said in the beginning, it's better than a good half of the Paul W.S. Anderson films. But that's not a big standard. I want someone to make a Resident movie that felt sincere, real, and above all, really coming from the heart. Making a genuinely well-structured, well-paced movie that honored the source material, honored the characters, and understanding a good story for what makes it ticks underneath. And frankly, and let's be real about something. If you've seen this movie, if you remember the chief leader of the police, he's like, everything's kind of going to hell, and he's like, yeah, whatever. See you guys in the afterlife or whatever. And he just kind of buggers off, and he literally quits. And I'm like, if you can't make him care, granted, his character wasn't meant to be great in the first place, but I'm like, the film is just kind of presenting itself in this, really lazy, sardonic, in this really passive, who cares attitude, then the movie fails to make me understand why I should care in the first place. To understand the stakes. When it doesn't honor a goddamn lick of what makes Resident Evil work in the first place. And perhaps and you know what, I remember there being a series this year as well. But perhaps I was too hopeful. Perhaps I gave this movie too much faith. And frankly, by the time the movie ended, I ran out of the theater like it was on fire. Like, I was just like, at the time, I was just so angry and upset about the movie. But I'm glad, talking about this movie here and now, it's like, it's a bit more off my chest. And even if I get anything wrong, if anyone wants to correct me on anything, please do. I offer that completely. If I'm wrong about something, please tell me. I'm not perfect, but at the very least, I really wanted this to be something special. I believed in it. But it's like, well, you got to look down. Yeah, but that's an industry standard. Of course, you need to have decent acting. Of course, you need to have a good-looking set. Is that just enough to get the bare atmosphere right? More right than any of the Paul W.S. Anderson films, which universally suck? Spare me. Like, no. And yes, I have a review, and unfortunately, I have seen No Time to Die, and I have not uploaded that review at all. But I'm going to, around the same time when I upload this. Perhaps I'm personally, mentally calmed down from seeing this movie, but it's like, it's kind of like that Incredible Hulk thing, where it's like, hey Jack, welcome to Resident Evil, welcome to Raccoon City. I just kind of go, it just puts a wrong taste in my mouth. Like, it doesn't understand the bare minimum of what makes the franchise understandably good in the first place. It's the Last Jedi of Resident Evil movies. And that's saying someone, and it's really fucking saying something from someone who really hated The Last Jedi. And how that movie essentially betrays anything of what made Star Wars good in the first place at all. Like I'm over this movie. I thought it was gonna be hard to top the Injustice movie. I really thought it was gonna be something very difficult to top that film. How much I didn't like that movie, but it did it. I hate this movie more than the Injustice film. It's the worst film I've seen of the year. No worst films of the year for me. It's just the worst. Yeah. Fuck this movie.